Yes. Yeah.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Harris Centers at
The Pirates playing in Williams.
Welcome back to the third period. This is going to be an interesting topic because we both have some interesting things we found on it. Advertising on uniforms. Now, I know in the NHL they recently did this with advertising on the helmets. It could get worse.
So as a card-carrying Uniwatch member, I have some very strong opinions about this entire topic. I think jerseys should be ad-free. That's my opinion, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I think uniforms in sports are pretty sacred.
Yes, they should be just the team name, number, player's name, that's it. The traditional, normal, standard stuff.
Right.
Not let's do an advertising for X amount, XYZ company.
A jersey should not look like a NASCAR.
Pretty much. And I know over in Europe, as me and you talked off air a few moments ago, European hockey uniforms, not just jerseys, but even the pants, the socks.
You look like you're driving a professional race car.
If you look
you're
up,
wearing one.
If you even look up European hockey rink, the hockey rink ads, there are some stadiums, and Jason, the look on your face when you saw what these stadiums look, what these rinks look like, the rink itself looks like a NASCAR ad. They're everywhere.
There had to have at least been 16 ads on the ice, just on the one picture I found. It's awful looking.
I mean, it's one thing like you see in, let's say, the NHL with the ice. They have a virtual ads at each end of the glass. Okay, fine. It doesn't really distract much. You see it, but it's not a distraction.
Ads on the boards don't bother me. Ads on the outfield
boards
walls
been
don't
around.
bother me.
Ads on the walls, even at rink, baseball games have always been there for who knows how long. So it's not like it's a new thing. But
the ads on the helmets didn't bother me in the NHL.
No, that does not bother me either. That doesn't take anything away.
It's not on the uniform itself. It's pretty inoffensive on the helmet. But it's when it starts going on the uniform. Like the NBA, I think all but three or four teams in the NBA don't have an ad. And I think that ends after next year. And they're small and insignificant enough that it shouldn't drive you crazy, but it drives me crazy.
Well, I think what drives me nuts is if they start doing not just the uniforms, what makes them not want to, not start doing what they did do over in Europe with the rink. It's like you said, the one you saw about 16. I'm looking at one where there's probably close to 30.
Well, the one picture I found from the KHL, the guy has 2 McDonald's patches on each shoulder, and then he has the McDonald's logo wrapping around his socks.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at that picture too. And a JMS on his hockey pants, whatever.
Well, I don't know what JMS is. That's why I don't know. With McDonald's.
Yeah, but he has 2 other ads on his hockey socks. Looks like
3
2 other
ads on his sleeve.
Yep, and then 2 ads above the McDonald's one on the logo, above that, and that same logo that are on his shoulders is also on his hockey helmet.
Yep.
Now, we don't know.
You're going to have to put that picture on the YouTube clip.
Yeah.
So they know what we're looking at.
And we don't know what's on his back. We don't know what advertisement could be on the back
his
of his
name,
jersey.
I hope.
If that. Maybe. But who knows what advertisements around it. We're loving the advertising.
And the reason I suggested this topic, is this one falls on me, is a few weeks ago, the Padres announced that they are going to have an ad in 2023. They're going to be the first team to have an ad in 2023. And it's still an ad on the uniform. I don't like it, but it could be a lot worse. So it's a Motorola ad on the right sleeve, and it's in Padres colors, so it blends in nicely. It's not like
That's not too bad. I see where you're coming from, where the jersey shouldn't have an ad, but at least it's not something distracting, like bright colors or something. It kind of blends in with the jersey, blends in with the team colors.
right, and that's my biggest thing is that I like. I mean, if they're gonna do it, let's make sure the ad fits with the team's visual aesthetic. Like, I know for a while, I don't know if the Lakers have it anymore, but I know the Lakers for a while had a Wish.com ad on the chest, a real small one on the chest of the jersey, but it was in Wish colors. So on this purple away jersey or yellow home jersey, there's a bright white and blue Wish.com logo on it. Why don't you just make it, if it's the purple away jersey, have it purple with a yellow Wish on it. If you're going to do it, let's at least make sure it fits the jersey, not something that looks visually stupid.
Uniforms should not have any type of advertising.
I understand
because, like
in
we
the
said
minors.
before, they're sacred because of what they are, what they represent.
Right.
The tradition behind it. Even the minors sometimes kind of hinders on me because let's just say the Hershey Bears because they're local.
Well, but the Bears have had a Highmark logo on the jersey for how long now?
Yeah, but okay. But think about this, though. What if they start looking like the European jerseys now? Because they had that jersey for the longest time. Yes, that's big in Hershey.
Not being a smartass, aren't the Bears themselves an advertisement?
What, for chocolate?
Yes. Their original name was the Bars.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But that was how long ago?
Oh, it was many, many moons ago.
Yeah, that was that long ago.
I'm just throwing it out there. That's all.
Well, looking at the Unitwatch article here, they have one of the managers standing on base with their normal helmet, Ford on the side.
Yeah, that was for a game in Mexico. And when the Yankees and Red Sox played in England, they had ads on the helmets as well.
Yep, I'm seeing that now. But
no, it's a controversial topic for people who understand why uniforms in sports are considered sacred by sports fans and by the athletes who play it. Unfortunately, I think too many teams look at everything as a money grab, and that's how you end up with the crazy European hockey sweaters where there's the Volkswagen logo on the chest, there's a Samsung logo on the stomach, there's this, there's that. The entire person is a walking advertisement for things that on TVs you can't even see. So what do I know, right?
Yeah, that's just kind of odd on any of that. Yeah, I don't get it. I do not get it.
Now, in the other Unitwatch article that we have to reference from, I know because it's yet again it's Highmark. The Penguins' use of it isn't awful. I still don't like it, even though it's a local medical facility. It's how I feel. At least it's not white with the blue Highmark logo. It's black with the blue Highmark logo. But it's just leave these uniforms alone. There's other ways for these leagues to rake in more money from the fans.
Yeah, at that point, it's just it can be a bit much with everything.
I just think it's a slippery slope to the European hockey sweaters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could be where it could be bad.
Like, I, as a fan, I don't want to buy a Phillies jersey that has a little tiny P and then a Tony Luke subs ad and then a PP&L ad and then this and that and
a little tiny P.
Because there's no room for a logo. It's just ads.
At that point, yeah. Or even, instead of Phillies right across the chest, it's ads.
And here's the weird thing about it, and I think it's because as a country we're very much tuned into the Big Four, but MLS has been doing this forever because it's soccer culture. Is that the teams are sponsored by businesses.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, when you're sponsored by a business, that's one thing.
Because I think
when you have a team that's been around for who knows how long, and next thing you know, they're one half of their jersey looks like we've said before, NASCAR.
Right.
And that's just half.
Can't you imagine the post-game interviews? I want to thank the team, and I want to thank Heinz ketchup and Coca-Cola and
McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Subway.
That's an old. Was that a Bill Engvall bit?
No, I don't know. I just started naming.
Or is that Foxworthy?
I don't know. I'm actually still looking at the jersey, or not jersey, the rink, from overseas, where it has the Subway, it has the Wendy's, it has the Xfinity, it has.
That's got to be photoshopped. I don't think there's any. Those are all I don't think there's Xfinity over in Europe.
I don't know where this is at though. I'm just saying just because it's just. Either way, it's on the ice. I don't know.
The Phils are losing.
It might be in the. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it might be Photoshop, but yet I wouldn't put it past. That's the thing. I wouldn't put it past it.
And here's the thing. One thing we've learned is it will be tried out in the minors before it ever happens in the top tier. So.
Well, like you said before, it would have to be so distracting. Like let's just say in hockey, you're skating up the ice, and next thing you know, you just pass 5 advertisements between the face-off dots.
Well, I mean, and hockey's a great example for this because you can, like basketball, your play on the court is not hindered by the view of the court itself. You as a player and you're dribbling, you're not focusing on the ball and how it moves on the court. Football, you're not focused on the ball and how it moves on the field. Hockey, you have to pay attention to the puck on the ice. What happens if Harley Davidson has an ad on the ice and you lose the puck in the black of the Harley Davidson logo?
And think about it for goalies. You have a beat on the puck, and next thing you know, your eyes are off it because it blends in with an advertisement.
Right, and I just think that's a bad situation. There's other ways to bring in money for the team.
Now, you said football. That okay? Yes, it does. You really don't stare at the field. But what if they did that to football games, to the stadiums?
I mean,
that would look. That'd look a little interesting.
Unlike some of the unnatural fake turf fields that we see now, like is it Boise State has an all blue field, and
yep.
Who has the all black field? Well, someone has an all black field.
But still, I mean, stuff like that. Okay, fine. It's just one color. It's not. Let's just say the traditional grass color, green, and the white lines. It's that plus maybe between like each every 10 yards is an advertisement.
Right.
They get their own 10 yards.
So instead of being at the 10-yard line, they would be at the
McDonald's
Popeye
line.
spicy chicken sandwich line.
They could be at the HP line. They could be at the Pepsi line. I mean, who knows?
And there's the kickoff, and he catches it at the Viagra yard line.
He's moving it up the field.
Oh boy!
Imagine a deep pass.
And he gets sacked at the Viagra yard line. And if you're having trouble sacking your member, make sure to call the doctor after 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, this is. I wouldn't honestly. I wouldn't put it past advertisement like that. I would
Oh
not.
yeah, they'll find a way to work it into the broadcast. I can hear Joe Buck just annoying everyone with his ad reads for the Yardline advertisements. I hope that never happens with Yardline advertisements, but it would not surprise me. I mean, some teams have ads on the pitcher's mound.
And also the Boise State Broncos. Yes, it's blue. The Coastal Carolina. I do not know how to say that name. You give it a shot. See what happens.
Heck.
Yeah.
But
it's teal.
Oh, jeez. I want to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it. What it comes down to.
I don't know either.
I mean, it's clearly a rooster of some kind.
Let's see here, the Central Arkansas, the Central Arkansas Bears, purple and gray alternating every 5 yards. Think of that for a second for a football field. Every 5 yards is
it is the Chanticleers, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
Okay, we'll go with that.
A name given to a rooster, especially in fairy tales. Fun fact about Coastal Carolina, a kid my dad coached in basketball played baseball there. And he's in the minors still.
Oh, there you go. The Lindenwood Lynx, red and gray alternating every 5 yards. So you got purple and gray for the Central Arkansas Bears. Lindenwood is red and gray every 5 yards. East Michigan Eagles is all gray. Eastern Washington Eastern Washington Eagles also. There's 2 Eastern Washington Eagles, one in Washington and one in Michigan. I'm sorry, Eastern Washington Eagles. I'm off today.
It's all right. There was a rumor that Maryland was going to go with an all-black field.
But the Eastern Washington Eagles is all red, nicknamed the Inferno. But looking at this list, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that have blue fields. And Boise State actually had theirs since 1986.
I like Boise State's. I'm not going to lie. So
I like it too. It's different.
It is different, and it's a good different. It's not. It makes the game pop a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not like you have, like I just said, purple and gray alternating every 5 yards.
No, that's too much.
Well, it could be an ad every 5 yards too, instead of 10. Could be an ad. You know.
Well, I'm not for ads. I can at least acknowledge when one like the Padres is done well and tasteful, even though I don't like it. I'm not for it. I think it's a slippery slope and it's going to end bad.
Yeah, things like that. If it, like you said with the Padres, if it fits the colors of the team, fits the design, but it has to be a tasteful way to do it, not just where you look like an overpacked billboard.
Right.
It's just going to get too much.
Right.
At that point, it's just going to get way too much. So, on that note, that's the end of the third. Fun times.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
go ahead.
There's definitely a lot of interesting things off of Uniwatch with that alone.
I love Uniwatch. It's one of my favorite sports sites of all time.
You don't say.
Shout out to... I know he doesn't listen, but I'm shouting him out anyway. Shout out to Paul Lucas, the brains behind it. He writes some really great stuff. And he caught some heat from people this past week over noticing a mistake on the Tom Seaver Mets statue. The 4 on the back of the Tom Seaver statue, the jersey on the back of the statue, is not a 4 that was ever used on a Mets jersey. And people flipped out.
At him?
Yeah.
Why? Because he pointed something obvious out?
he pointed it out, and people were like, well, why does it matter? Why do you care? And he wrote a really nice thing on Uniwatch. He's like, it makes me appreciate the audience I have here and our fans, because while we are a small segment, we appreciate these little details.
Well, you would think that they would want to make it in a design of the uniform of the era or what's current or anything like that.
I mean, I'm right there with you, but me and you get it, and not everyone does.
I mean, like I said, you would think that they would want, what is, well, let's just say, for example, an era of, let's say, Wayne Gretzky, just because, a hockey fan, why not? They put a bronze statue up. You would think they want to put, let's say, a Kings. Let's just say the Los Angeles Kings of that era. They'd want to put that type of jersey on him.
But they put the modern crest on it. Or they put Schmidt in a modern day Phil's hat instead of the classic maroon one. I get it. And I'm there. But again, that's why he always says, Uniwatch is for people who get it. The card even says, let me pull it back out here. This card certifies that you get it, because you either get it or you don't. You understand why these things are important or you don't.
Yeah, it's like, it's you want to have the best details as possible for what you're putting up.
I agree. And it's funny, we got to wrap this up here soon, and I'll finish after this. But he even interviewed the sculptor, and the sculptor admits, he's like, when my initial clay one that I did that was this big, he's like, it was right. So I don't know when in the process I put the wrong 4 on. He's like, but it's my mistake and I'm going to own it. And I'm like, well, the guy came off really cool because he did admit his mistake. He wasn't offended that he noticed it. Like, just seemed like a really good guy. Yeah. And kudos to him for sitting down to be interviewed by Paul from Uniwatch about this.
Hey. At least he admitted it.
Yeah.
And knows, okay, I did wrong.
So real quick, let's hit some plugs here. You can catch me monthly on the Philly Baseball Together podcast with my co-host Tori. We review the prior month of the Philly season, and actually last week we hit you with a bonus episode. I know I sent it to you. I don't know if you got to listen to it, but it was really just 30 minutes of us just venting about that meltdown against the Mets. And
was that what you're calling it? The meltdown?
It was something. I think I called it 30 minutes of hate. And I cracked Tori up at the end because I said, thank you for joining us for this very special episode of the Philly Baseball Together podcast. And unlike Full House and Blossom, we've learned nothing here.
Jeez.
But you can find the Philly Baseball Together podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to check out our friend Matt and his co-host Chris on The A Show. That is a pro wrestling fantasy draft podcast where each week different guests join them to draft and book the best wrestling show within the parameters given of each show. Case in point, the first time I was on, we did 1989 NWA, one of my favorite times and promotions in pro wrestling. You can find them on CKCC Radio and wherever else you get your podcasts. With that, we're closing up shop for the night. Thank you for joining us for episode 45 of the Not Another Sports podcast. You can find us in the description of the show. Our Linktree address is there. You can look us up on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and our store is through that Linktree at naspod-creator.spring. You can find all those links in the description of the episode and every episode. You can also find links for Fans Idea and Baseball Together in the write-up of the episode. Go to our Teespring shop. Check out our shirts. What all do we got? We got sweatshirts. We got hoodies. We got t-shirts and long sleeve shirts.
Oh yeah. Still looking for that hat though. Still.
A hat would be nice.
I go on there at least, I want to say, twice a week. just to see if they put one on, and all they have is that bucket hat that doesn't look right.
You can wear that on the golf course. If you visit our link tree and go to any one of our social media accounts, please hit us up, comment, message us, interact with us. That's why we have them. The Non-Other Sports podcast is available for streaming or download at Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and wherever else you get your podcast. If you want to sit and watch us, we are on YouTube. David uploads those episodes incrementally. We split them up into each period. So you don't have to sit there for an hour and 15 minutes. You only get to sit there for 20 to 15 minutes and watch us talk about whatever we talked about on the podcast that week.
See our reactions.
Our reactions are something sometimes. Either way, please subscribe, rate, review, give us your feedback. That's the way we make this podcast improve and work. With that, my name's Jason.
I'm David.
And we'll talk with you next time.
Have a good one.